It's October 21st, 2024, and this is the Watson Weekly, your essential e-commerce digest. Today on our show, optimization will be the watchword in 2025. OpenStore pivoting into Helpdesk Software. Walmart appoints Seth Dellaire as Chief Growth Officer. New report shows unicorns lack exit options. And finally, the Investor Minute, which contains 5 items this week from the world of venture capital, acquisitions, and IPOs. But first, in our shopping cart full of news, optimization will be the watchword of 2025. Often when trying to make a business more profitable, it can seem daunting to decide what to keep and what to throw out. Generally because there's not a clear business plan. Without a growth strategy, the CFO or CEO will just start at the highest line item expenses and start chopping. In cases like this, the devil is really in the details. And Jamie Hancock's, a friend of mine later last week, talked about the trend towards consolidating e-commerce stacks, which I agree is definitely a trend I'm seeing. However, today I want to talk about what I think is causing this trend and not the trend itself. The cause of the stack consolidation is most often poor growth or inefficient growth, causing a relook at the expenses. And the root cause of this is a difficulty getting new investor money. For many people consolidating technology stacks now, these decisions should have honestly been made last year. For technology vendors, it can mean moving out of a best-of-breed strategy and into a best for me now. Still, I think we're having the wrong conversation. The technology stack is a means to an end. Don't be surprised if growth keeps plummeting the more you cut if you haven't both identified and prioritized your most important customer growth segments from the beginning and build everything in your business around that. You won't know what is non-essential later while you're cutting. At RMW Commerce, here's how planning begins with our top customers. First, decide where your customer growth is going to come from. Why do they come to you? Next, decide where your channel growth is going to come from. Where will your customers come there, and how much will it cost to acquire them? Next, are your people and process optimized around these growth plans? What can be made more efficient or reorganized? This step is often entirely skipped in a rush to reduce technology spending. Finally, you can start to make technology decisions. For a more profitable business, you might be happier with a longer range growth plan as long as your top line is still increasing. People and process must be aligned in service of your growth plan, and technology aligned to those same people and processes. Better alignment can create growth while saving money. And in this environment, even modest growth can still mean you're gaining share versus your peers. Our second story, OpenStore pivoting into Helpdesk Software. Shopify software aggregator OpenStore, founded by Keith Rabois. I don't know that much about him generally, but here are a few facts that I do know. This is one of the first Shopify aggregator companies which sprung up after the Amazon aggregators like Thrasio took over. The company has raised $150 million and was reportedly at almost $1 billion valuation at one point. They have acquired over 50 brands. In 2022, the CEO's number one goal was to acquire 10 times more companies with a goal of acquiring a business a day. I'm not making this up. OpenStore automated the offer process much more than other aggregators, getting people offers for their businesses in less than 24 hours. In 2022, the company said it eventually plans to move merchants onto a single platform. Where have we heard that before? And of course, there are other facts about these previous facts. Fact: most startups become worthless because they're startups. Most acquisitions fail because the acquired business is not worth much. And most acquisition synergies, even between two great businesses, are never realized fully without destroying what made one or both special. Automating a bad business process, meaning acquiring bad startups, tends to accelerate failure. Now the company releases some new facts in an updated interview. OpenStore now says it needs to make very few acquisitions because it now only wants to pick the winners. Well, why didn't they only want to pick the winners before? The company is releasing its internal customer service software that it built in-house from scratch because it's good enough for us, and of course, it's based on AI. Let's review. OpenStore used to want to acquire a company a day and built a lot of automation to do that. Now they want to acquire almost no companies. And their biggest opportunity with their remaining capital, which is this is what this is about, which is how to preserve their remaining capital, is now in software. And they're not going to build software that generates any revenue for its merchants. Instead, they're just going to shave a few pennies from outsourced reps in the Philippines from customer service by moving to AI. The company's software is going to be called OpenDesk, and it's for Helpdesk. Don't call it a pivot. Instead, I'm calling it a reboot. I don't also think that Gorgeous or Zendesk are too concerned. The company is aiming lower than this in the market, and instead of building automation for their own customers who are apparently not succeeding, they're going to sell the same automation to other brands below $1 million in sales, most of which those companies are not going to succeed anyway. The churn in this tier of the software market is extremely high. All that said, the new business still sounds better than the old one. But at the end of the day, I ask simply, who's going to trust OpenStore to run their software stack? Our third story. Walmart appoints Seth Dellaire as Chief Growth Officer. Seth Dellaire has had a long career in the advertising industry. He has been leading Walmart Connect, the advertising business, Walmart Data Ventures, and Walmart Plus, which has experienced a lot of growth under his watch after some early ramp-up period. It's no surprise that Seth has been promoted to Chief Growth Officer at Walmart. In short, retail is hard. Digital services are easier and higher margin. It's the way of things right now. In this role, Seth will have full reign over omnichannel product design and marketing teams in addition to his current responsibilities. And usually I find when someone with a business or sales focus like Seth adds responsibilities for things that are more technical like product and design, the company has found that he has a good pulse on what the customer needs and that there are even more services that Walmart plans to announce and improve. And Walmart does not want to wait for the rest of the organization to align with Seth's progress and vision. Also, it seems true that Amazon execs are kind of taking over Walmart. Manish Jonja, the SVP of Marketplace, spent 3 years at Amazon after 6 years at eBay. Suresh Kumar, the CTO of Walmart, spent 8 years at Amazon. Seth Dellaire spent over 15 years at Amazon. And Dave Glick, a good friend, SVP of Enterprise Business Services, almost 20 years of Amazon, former logistics leader. Gone are the days where to be a senior Walmart exec, you had to spend 25 years living in Bentonville, Arkansas. Finally, despite the expanded responsibilities, you can't help but expect an advertising-focused leader still will continue to drive those types of services and other data services deeply into the omnichannel experience at Walmart for its brand and marketplace partners. This move will likely give Seth a larger perch with which to do so. And our last story. New report shows unicorn startups lack exit options. PitchBook and NVCA just released a report that highlighted a few trends in the VC world, which definitely ring true to me right now. A few of the callouts. Lack of M&A and IPOs continue to affect the market in a number of interesting ways. One is the number and age and size of unicorns. Unicorns account for $2.5 trillion in value, which seems good until you understand that 40% of this value has been held in their portfolio for 9 years. Something has to give. Recent reports from the Apollo CEO have indicated that it may just become the new normal to stay private indefinitely and have distributions to earlier investors done through private equity instead. Sign of the times. Other stats include the fact that the total number of investors involved in making deals in the last year is just 45% of the total from 2021. To me, this means that rookie investors are now sitting on the sidelines and existing investors are doing bridge rounds instead to support their existing bets, and perhaps to hide declining valuations. The age of the party round is over. Diligence is up and deals are taking longer to close. At the same time, the total number of venture deals is not increasing. This is causing existing startups to prioritize efficiency, cash, and profitability over growth. It's not helped by the fact that I've seen net revenue retention down for e-commerce SaaS companies all over the place, particularly in smaller customer segments. The great trade down continues. All told, venture companies are staying private longer and are faced with no IPO prospects and limited M&A opportunities at the high end. In this case, you might say old startups don't die, they just fade away. And by the way, Federal Reserve, no 50-point basis rate cut is going to change this investor dynamic until we start seeing some big AI IPOs out there. It's that time, friends, for our Investor Minute. We have 5 items on the menu today. First, True Value Hardware files for Chapter 11. True Value seeks Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection to sell itself to rival Do It Best for $153 million via a stalking horse bid, using cash collateral and Do It Best's investment if needed. A 75-year-old retailer joins a list of retailers who have failed to stay relevant. Sadly, we're going to see more of this. Second, B. Riley Financial to establish partnership with Oaktree in Great American Group businesses. B. Riley Financial and Oaktree Capital Management have announced a partnership in Great American Group businesses. The company will reorganize and contribute all of its interests in Great American Group to Great American Newco. B. Riley receives $203 million in cash at a valuation of $386 million, while Oaktree is provided with the upside of Great American Group. This seems complicated. Third, Descartes acquires Seller Cloud for $110 million. Descartes Systems Group announced the acquisition of inventory and order management platform Seller Cloud for $110 million, which includes up to an additional $20 million performance-based earnout based on revenue-based targets in the next 2 years post-acquisition. This is the 5th acquisition that Descartes has made in 2024, as the company has added additional e-commerce logistics solutions to its offering. This continues the long line of a Descartes trend. Fourth, Mike Teresa acquires Yoox Net-a-Porter for $608 million. Luxury e-commerce platform My Teresa has acquired Yoox Net-a-Porter for €555 million from Richemont, who will receive a 33% equity stake in My Teresa. Richemont will also be able to nominate a member to My Teresa board and grant a 6-year revolving credit line of €100 million to assist with the general expenses. The luxury sector is seeing a consolidation, and that definitely is a sign of the times. And finally, the Watches of Switzerland Group acquires Hodenky. The Watches of Switzerland Group has acquired Hodenky, an editorial watch website, for an undisclosed amount. Why is this news? This is another example of a business that peaked during the pandemic and then struggled to regain its original identity. Who would have thought that editorial content for high-end watches is a business? And today's final word of the week for October 21st, 2024 is optimization. This is a theme that we'll be start to exploring more here on the podcast, as I've marked it as a key trend and theme for 2025. Consumers will keep trading down, but another word for this on the consumer side is optimization also. Optimization of consumer budgets, that is. It's not that the economy is getting a ton worse, but the costs of the largest part of household budgets are also not going down. How high is optimization on your mind for 2025 planning? Did you know that RMW Commerce has a brand new podcast? Check out the Watson Weekend for an unfiltered and lively e-commerce chat each week with me, Rick Watson, my co-host Jess Lasesky, and an array of interesting guests and topics, all focused on e-commerce. You can find the Watson Weekend by searching for it on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. That's all for this week. Till next time, Watsonians. Hi, I'm Rick Watson, CEO and founder of RMW Commerce Consulting and host of the Watson Weekly Podcast, your essential e-commerce digest. Our production partner for the series is Citizen Race Car. The show is produced by Jose Baez. To hear new episodes of the show every Monday morning, subscribe now at rmwcommerce.com/WatsonWeekly and wherever you get your podcasts.